Hey, welcome back to Dave in the Shop. Today is part 2 of the sign making video. The next step on the sign project is to do a little bit of sanding. So I've got all my small pieces and I need to just hit them lightly with the sandpaper. Really the key thing is to make sure to knock off some of the black from the laser printer. Otherwise that stuff can tend to make a mess. So just a little bit of light sanding, and then I'll lightly sand the surface of each piece as well. The next step is going to be to apply paint to all of the pieces. What I like to do is save case trays from soda or beer. In fact, a good friend of mine gave me a whole bunch of fold-up case trays, and these are very, very handy around the shop, just to store things, carry things around, and also when I do my painting, just to kind of help control the paint on the bench. All right, we'll let these dry for a little while, and then we'll come back in for coat number 2 on the paint. The next step in the process, now that the first coat of paint has dried, is we'll take a little bit of red Scotch-Brite and just lightly sand over the top of everything before we put on the next coat of paint. Okay, now it's time for second coat of paint. So the next step is to glue all of this up. And I said there's a little trick, or at least it's a trick that I think it's a trick. The way that I do it, if you notice, this is where I cut out all the letters, but I also cut out the ring that goes around it. And then the outside diameter of the ring is what matches up to the outside of the backer. So what I do is I'm going to use this to then drop in all my letters so that I've got them glued in and spaced out the way that I want them, so they match the layout of the sign. The other approach that one could take is cutting these letters in such a way that you use the most, it's the most efficient use of the materials. Then you've got to go in and manually place all of the parts and pieces and get them aligned the way that you want them. And one trick that you can do is, if you have this layout done this way, you can engrave that onto this backer board, and then after you paint it, you still have a little indentation line in there that you can use to match things up. So what I like to do is do it this way. It uses a little bit more material, but it makes it, in my opinion, very, very easy to align it. So I've got my little plate that I'm putting on, and I've got the oval, which is really going to be the first thing that I glue down. And so it fits over the outside of that. Now the key is to really get everything on the oval positioned exactly right. And that just takes a little twisting and turning until it looks like, okay, I am on the background. Now I've got this raised up. I've got a little block of wood under here to help give me access all the way around the edges. And then what I'm going to do is not clamp the oval, the ring yet, but to clamp down this material that's going to be used as my alignment guide. All right, so now that holds that in place, and now what I can do is work in a little bit of glue around the this ring, and so I'll just gently work that in. So I'll move clamp out of my way for the moment. As long as this board doesn't slip, I should be in good shape. Now I'm going to use some of the super glue. This is the thick version of the glue, so we'll just put in just a little bit around the edge very gently. Try not to get it on the spacer board, because you don't want that to be glued into place. So I'll glue this half first, just putting a little glue around the edges. And I'm not using a lot of glue. This isn't designed to be a super rugged piece or anything. It's just going to hang on the wall. Okay, so that's got a little bit of glue on it. Let's move our inner clamp around. And then what we'll do is put some little clamps on this piece to hold it in place. And these are not the best of clamps. They were indeed cheap. All right, now we'll go work in a little bit of glue around the other side. Again, this is the thick glue. If I had the real runny stuff, I'm afraid it would move around and get out of place. Okay, so now the next step is to clamp this other side. Some little clamps. Now we let that glue set up, and then we'll take this center spacer piece out, make sure that it comes in and out okay, touch up anything if we need to. Then we'll go back to glue in all the lettering. But our spacer is in there nicely, so now all we need to do is a couple of clamps to hold this spacer in place, and now we're ready to glue in all of the lettering and our saw blade into the... So doing it this way uses a little bit more material, but it does make this second part of putting all and placing all the letters really, really easy to do. All right, it's time to start gluing things in place. All right, I think we are good to go here. In order to help press the parts and pieces in place and keep the sign flat, we're going to take a piece of HDPE sheet, lay it over the top, and then a couple of weights that I have here in the shop, little anvil and my little cutoff disc that I use to hammer on occasionally. So we'll let those set on top while this continues to dry. We've had it setting here on the table with the weight on it for a little over 30 minutes. So now it's time to take the weights off and let's take a look. All right, so far so good. Now we'll see if our piece will come off without pulling up any parts and pieces. And there we go. Everything's in place. Everything's glued down. We're done with this. Well, that really kind of completes the build. So there's our Dave in the Shop sign. Everything is painted. Everything's ready to go. The only thing I need to do left is I'll just glue a little hook place to hang it up on the wall. Just glue that onto the back. And that's it. I'm happy with how it came out. Nice, simple build, easy way to make signs. It's got a little 3D relief on it, and I'm happy to hang it up in the shop. Well, this has been another episode of Dave in the Shop. Appreciate you watching, and we will look forward to seeing you in the shop next time.